Sam Whitaker had been a cowboy long before he'd ever been a soldier. He grew up on a dusty ranch outside Abilene, Texas, where the fields were wide and the meals were small. His family didn't have much, but what they did have they shared. Sam learned early that kindness wasn't something you gave because you had plenty, it was something you gave because someone else had less. When the war came, it swept him up like it did so many young men. By 1945, he was thousands of miles from his ranch, fighting in a world that felt colder than any Texas winter. Sam wasn't a war hero. He wasn't decorated. He wasn't famous. He was just a regular soldier doing his duty, counting the days until he could go home and rebuild the quiet life he left behind. One morning, after a long night of marching through the Black Forest region, Sam and his unit stumbled upon a small farmhouse. It was half burned and half frozen, with smoke rising from the ruins like a tired sigh. The war had swept through here only days earlier, leaving behind shattered wood, broken glass, and silence that felt too heavy for the morning air. Their commander ordered the men to search the area. Sam walked toward what used to be a barn, his boots crunching in the snow. When he pushed open the half-hanging door, two pairs of terrified eyes stared back at him. They were young women, no more than their early 20s, huddled together behind a stack of hay. Their clothes were torn, their faces pale from hunger and cold. One had golden hair tucked behind her ears, the other had darker hair braided over her shoulder. They looked like sisters. And they looked like they expected him to harm them. Sam froze. For a moment, no one spoke. He felt his heart tug in his chest the way it used to when he found an injured calf stuck in a fence back home. That he gently lowered his rifle. "It's okay," he said softly. "I ain't here to hurt you." The older sister stepped forward just enough to shield the younger one. Her voice trembled. We are prisoners. We escaped the transport. Please, don't shoot." Sam swallowed hard. He knew what the rules said. Escaped POWs were to be detained and immediately turned over to the officers. Helping them could be seen as aiding the enemy. But looking at those two frightened girls, he didn't see enemies. He only saw human beings, cold, starving, and desperate. "What are your names?" he asked. "I'm Elise," the older one said. "This is my sister, Lotte." Sam nodded slowly. "Well, Elise. Lotte. I ain't handin' you over to nobody till you get warm and get something in your stomach. Y'all look like you ain't eaten in days." They stared at him, confused. Then Elise whispered, "Why would you help us?" Sam didn't have a fancy answer. "Because someone ought to." He led them back to the farmhouse, keeping them out of sight. His unit hadn't found anything useful, no enemies, no weapons, no supplies. Most of the men were too tired to care about anything except getting back to camp. Sam slipped into the kitchen while the others were searching outside. He found a couple of potatoes, half a loaf of bread, and a dented tin cup near a bucket of water. He smuggled the food out to the barn and handed it to the sisters. Elisa's hands shook as she took the bread. Lotte cried quietly, overwhelmed by the simple kindness of it. Sam felt something knot in his chest. These girls had seen horrors he couldn't even imagine. After they ate, Sam pulled off his coat and draped it over their shoulders. He was freezing instantly, but he didn't care. "I'll figure something out," he said. "You two just stay quiet." But that was easier said than done. The next morning, word spread through the unit that high-ranking generals were coming through to inspect the area. If the sisters were found, Sam knew exactly what would happen. They'd be dragged away, maybe punished severely for escaping, and he himself could face court-martial. Fear clenched in his gut. He rushed back to the barn. Elise and Lotte were sitting close together, whispering. Their faces lit up when they saw him, until they noticed the panic in his eyes. "What is it?" Elise asked. "Generals," Sam said. "High command. They're checking every building, every barn, every inch of this place." Lotte's face went white. "What will they do to us?" Sam didn't answer right away. He couldn't sugarcoat it. "I don't know. But I ain't lettin' them find you." But you will be punished, Elise whispered. Sam looked at them kindly. Some things are worth taking a risk for. Elise's eyes welled with tears. She reached out and gently touched his sleeve, a gesture of trust he didn't take lightly. Sam thought fast. He grabbed tools, broken planks, and snow-covered branches. With shaking hands, he helped the sisters down into a shallow trench behind the barn that was partly protected by collapsed wood. He covered them gently, leaving air pockets so they could breathe, whispering reassurance the whole time, "Don't move. Don't make a sound. I'll be back when I can." Just minutes later, the generals arrived, stern-faced, polished, and powerful. Their presence made every soldier stand taller, speak louder, and hide any trace of weakness. They inspected the farmhouse. They inspected the barn. They questioned everyone. Sam's heart pounded so loudly he thought they would hear it. One general approached him directly. "Private Whitaker, have you seen anything unusual? Any enemy survivors?" Sam swallowed the truth like a stone. "No, sir. Just ruins and cold." The general's sharp eyes scanned him. "Your coat is missing." Sam forced a small shrug. "Tore it on some barbed wire, sir. Got caught when I was checking the fence line." The general squinted but said nothing. He moved on. By the time the inspection was over, Sam felt like he had aged 10 years. But he didn't go to check on the sisters right away. He waited until dusk, when the officers had moved on and the camp settled into a quiet lull of weary conversation. Then he hurried to the barn. He pulled away the scattered boards and whispered, "Elise? Latte?" Two faces peeked up, cold, but alive. Elise reached for his hand as he helped them out. We thought we would not see you again." Sam exhaled shakily. "I said I'd be back." For several days, Sam continued hiding them, sneaking them food, giving them whatever scraps of warmth he could. The sisters told him they had been taken prisoner months earlier, separated from their parents, shipped from camp to camp. They'd escaped when a transport truck was hit during the fighting. They'd run until their legs gave out. They were scared not just of the war, but of what came after. They didn't know if they had a home to return to, or if their parents were alive. It broke Sam's heart to hear it. On the fourth night, Elise looked at him with eyes full of gratitude and sorrow. "Why are you risking everything for us?" We are the enemy." Sam shook his head. "War makes enemies. But God makes us people. And people ought to help each other." Elise wiped a tear from her cheek. "You are the first kind person we've met in so long." That night, something changed in Sam. He realized kindness wasn't just about handing over food or giving away a coat. Kindness was bravery. Kindness was sacrifice. Kindness meant doing the right thing when everyone else was too afraid to. When Allied forces finally pushed deeper into the region, Sam managed to escort Elise and Latte to a civilian aid station, where Red Cross workers took them in. They would be processed as displaced civilians rather than prisoners, something that likely saved their futures. Before they parted, Elise hugged him tightly. Latte hugged him too, crying softly into his shoulder. "You will never be forgotten," Elise whispered. Sam's throat tightened. "Y'all stay safe. And when this war ends, live a good life. That's all I want." Years later, after the war, Sam returned to his ranch in Texas. He rebuilt the fences. He tended the fields. He lived quietly, kindly, as he always had. He never told anyone what he'd done. Not because he was ashamed, but because kindness, to him, didn't need applause. But Elise and Latte never forgot. They wrote letters for years, thanking him, telling him about their new lives, their families, their children. Every Christmas, Sam would receive a small package with German candy or a hand-drawn card from one of their kids who had heard the story of the cowboy soldier with the warm heart. Sam kept every letter in a wooden box under his bed. He didn't save them because he needed the praise. He saved them because they reminded him that doing good, even when it's dangerous, even when it's hard, can ripple across oceans, across years, across generations. and all of it began with a poor cowboy who had nothing left to give, except kindness. In a world filled with noise, division, and fear, kindness still has the power to change lives, sometimes quietly, sometimes boldly, but always deeply. Let this story remind us that every simple act of compassion matters, often more than we know. So today, choose to be kind. Choose to be someone's reason to believe in goodness again.